So I'm on the BJJ Fanatics website, and I see 3 new videos by some guy named Thomas Radzinski. You familiar with that guy at all?
Nope, absolutely not.
No? Well, he's got some good stuff. 3 brand new videos. They're getting amazing reviews, which is good to see as well. But you got to tell us about them real quick?
Yeah, I had, you guys already know, but I had opportunity to go to Boston, shoot 3 more instructionals, 1 on butterfly hook, complete guide for butterfly hook, 2 wrap, lapel, and submit them, and 3 we have taking the back. It's particularly designed for guys for over 40 because there's no climbing involved. All the back takes are on the ground. Very, very full and effective system. So dip into it. I'm really hoping that this is going to help your jiu-jitsu and really take it to the next level.
BJJfanatics.com. Just search ROZDZ. We have all had that situation where after class is when we want to ask a question. And Thomas, a lot of those questions you've already answered, right, at Ask a Black Belt.
Yeah, it's another podcast that I'm running. It's on podcast, all podcast platforms, plus on YouTube. You can find it anywhere. Just search for my name. Search for Ask a Black Belt. At this point, over 100 episodes, different questions, jiu-jitsu, life-related, but something that everybody comes across, and often these questions sink in our mind, but we don't ask for whatever reason. So if that benefits you, go there, listen. It actually might help your jiu-jitsu, might help your life as well. And if you have any questions, find me on Instagram and drop me a line. I'll be happy to answer your question and mention your name during the episode.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live.
Here we go.
I feel like this is a big deal. I think you are downplaying this, but this is a new year. This is the first time we're recorded an episode in 2024.
Yeah?
You don't feel this is a big deal?
No.
You don't think that hanging out with me for nearly 3 years is a big deal?
It's an ordeal.
Okay. Okay.
There you go. Starting it off on a high note. So 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it ties right into the takeaway. All the time for a long time.
All the time for a long time. Well, I still remember our conversation with Ryan from BJJ Fanatics, Ryan Ford.
Yeah.
And he said most of the podcast quit after 7 episodes. And then, 180 plus over 100 takeaways. I don't know how many episodes we've done total. Like how many recordings we've done, because
right. You had the takeaway. We started a little later, so you can't really double it.
No, yeah, I mean, I can look into that, but it's, talk about, being in it for a while.
Yeah. I mean, most people quit. And we haven't. So, so here we are.
Here we are.
It's like jiu-jitsu. Most people quit.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you think that's applicable all across the board? Like not necessarily how good you are, but how long the infinite game, essentially, how long you can sustain, or how long you can stick around to really be successful?
Are you talking strictly jiu-jitsu?
No,
or?
I'm talking about everything, life in general. Like, do you think that that's more, this is a broader perspective, or broader?
To be really good, it takes a long time probably to do anything. Anybody that's, there's the cliche flash in the pan.
What?
Never heard flash in the pan?
No. What does that mean?
Flash in the pan is?
No.
Like when you pour alcohol, you're cooking, and so you throw alcohol in there for some reason.
Is that a little explosion?
Yeah. It's a flash in the pan. Right?
Okay.
So somebody who comes along and makes an impact or is successful or is famous for a very short period of time is a flash in the pan. And so, I mean, if we're going to talk about jiu-jitsu, somebody who's athletic and talented, is a talented athlete and picks up on things quick,
can come into a jiu-jitsu academy and right off the bat look really good. Oh, this guy's going to be good. But if he doesn't put in the time, the effort, and the consistency, that's all going to go away. And and I think that to reach a higher level in anything, Brandon talked about, being a good guitar player, and, and what are you going into it for? I can relate to that guitar player thing. There's some guys that are flashy and they look great, but they can't write a song. They can't play with feel. They can't improvise. They can't, and all those things I think are applicable in anything that is I don't want to say, I'm not talking about strictly jiu-jitsu, but anything that is that never-ending game, anything that is open-ended. And, if you can't be consistent and be there all the time for a long time, you're just going to be that flash in the pan.
Yeah.
All right, cool. See you.
Jesus, you are a quick gun today. Jesus, you don't know? You don't know?
I'm hungry.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're cranky.
Yep.
So 4 minutes, we're done. Okay.
Yeah.
So why do you think that's so? I asked Brandon the same question, but why do you think this is so complicated and so difficult for us as humans? Like,
I don't think it's difficult. I think it's
it is, because if it wasn't,
which way are you coming at it from? Like, why did they quit? Why do people quit? Or why is it hard to understand that you need to be consistent for a long time?
Well, I think both of them.
Right.
Because if we acknowledge the fact that I want to be good at this and I need to stick around with this for a long time, if you know that's what the part of the recipe is, and say, fine, I'm going to do it, but then you quit, that means you truly didn't stick to what you promised.
I don't think people really say that they're going to do it. I think people go into it with unrealistic expectations. People go into it, and I'm talking about anything that's hard. People go into it with unrealistic expectations, and people need instant gratification. And when you put those two things together, people quit. It is what it is. I'm going to move on to something that I think, the new shiny object, the new, whatever comes along that's trendy, because, oh my God, this is work. I'm not going to go in there and hit the mats and be able to put my body in these positions and escape. Right. And what's funny, I think, and I'm just speaking from my experience, but I think it's pretty universal. People see jiu-jitsu and they're like, oh, cool, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to learn how to armbar somebody, and I'm going to learn how to choke somebody, and I'm going to learn how to, do a leg lock, and what they don't realize is, oh, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to spend a shitload of time on bottom. They don't know that going in, and that's a harsh reality. So they don't get to do all that fun, shiny stuff. So I'm gonna quit. It's not gratifying. It's not instant gratification that we need to have in this country.
Well, okay, so first I will frame this that I am playing devil's advocate right now, but for the sake of this conversation, New Year resolution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many people set them, knowing that odds of keeping them is extremely low. Right? Like the people say, I'm going to start the gym, even knowing it's all over everywhere. I mean, everybody knows this, that people who start New Year resolution, only very small percentage, below 1% actually continue on doing this. So why the hell these 99% of people still do it? Like, this is why.
Because motivation is easy. It's easy to be motivated. It's hard to be disciplined.
Well, that's the thing, right?
It's hard to get up. Brandon said to do it when you don't want to do it, to go when you don't want to go. That's hard. Walking in, not necessarily to a jiu-jitsu academy, because it's hard to walk in that first day.
Well, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but going into a store and buying an instrument, or going into a gym and signing up. Now, you can sign up for a gym online. A regular neighborhood, LA Fitness or whatever, what have you. That's easy. It's easy. It's easy to make a purchase. You can buy a guitar on Amazon, have it shipped to your house, but now you got to sit down and you got to practice, right? And you got to And if you want to be good, you got to practice a lot, and you got to practice often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we never kind of grow out of that kid phase where it's like you sit down with something new, and it's harder than you thought. So you start giving yourself reasons not to do it or making excuses, and then the next thing you know, it's collecting dust, or it's on a shelf in the closet.
Right.
You know,
I think we all have done
We
it at
quit.
some point, right? I mean,
yeah, I've done it my whole. The main reason that I am still doing jiu-jitsu is because I've quit so much in the past. I've put so many things away in a closet in the past that this can't go on that list. That's all.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have a list, and
Like
this can't
what?
go on it.
Like what? What's on your list?
What's been on my list? Theater, music,
Theater.
different martial arts.
Like, hold on, wait a second. Wait a second.
Film.
Theater meaning
Yeah.
like what?
like getting on a stage.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you.
So what did I say? Music. So a lot of different arts.
Yeah.
Some martial arts.
Yeah.
What else? And then when we talk about like the New Year's resolutions, I never really made New Year's resolutions, but there's other things that have gone on that list. And this is just one of them that I don't want to put on there.
Well, good for you. I hope you never do.
Who knows?
Well, we don't.
But, right.
We don't. But this is why I harp on everybody. Just show up. Just show up once, twice. Like, just you can't take a break. Like, this is one of the more important things, I think, with the consistency part, with the determination. Is like, no matter what is happening around you, you just got to do it.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter that, like, oftentimes we hear it's busy or that's not it. I'm curious if you feel that way, but I feel like we have enough time to do things. We just choose something over something else.
I think that is more often than not the case, for sure. Now, I have talked to some people who, have let their memberships go, and you're like, oh, yeah, you're right. No, we don't. You don't have the time to be here.
But this is a small percentage.
Right. That's what I'm
where
saying. More often than
life
not.
really, and even in those cases, look, and now I'm going to sound like a jackass, but even in those cases, you choose something else over this.
Sure.
You choose your family, which rightfully so, you should. If you don't, like, what are you doing, dude, right? You choose your kids, your family, maybe your work. That's important stuff. But you still choose something over this.
Mhm.
And based on that, but I think that's a small percentage what you're referring to. The majority of population allows it to lapse very slowly, and they replace it very slowly with something else. And if we take jiu-jitsu, in this sense, like, we have this desire of an idea. We don't, like, do we really want to master jiu-jitsu as a martial art? Like, if we ask that question to everybody who starts jiu-jitsu, I'm wondering what the answer would be. Do you really want to master it? Do you really want to master it?
I don't. Do you have to want to master it
I don't know. But what I do know is, do you like the idea, or do you like the actual work of mastering it?
Mhm.
Because these are two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. That goes back
Right?
to what I was talking
Absolutely.
about.
Like, do you want to play guitar, or do you like just the idea of being a musician?
Right. Yeah. Brandon said, do you want to pick up chicks around the campfire? Is that the extent of what you want to do with your guitar? Or do you really want to be a musician, a songwriter, and take it to a different level? And that goes for any endeavor that you pick up,
And go ahead.
it could be anything that is worthwhile. That is that endless thing, that open game.
Yeah. So, like, if we narrow this down to a more simplistic conversational topic here, or a reasoning here, it is all about choosing what we do in life or what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to, right? Like, if you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, you gotta pack your bag and you gotta go to jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Like, there's no any other way around it. If you want to swim, you gotta get in a pool. Like, or simply acknowledge that you don't want to swim. Like, you don't want to be good at it. Like, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
It's just, But don't tell me that you want to be good at swimming, but you don't want to get in the water, because that, like, how does that make
Right.
sense?
Well, and I
Am
think
I out of my mind here?
no, but I do think that there's outside pressures when it comes to jujitsu, within the world of jujitsu.
What do you mean?
I think that people are not forced. I think that the thought is put into people's heads that they have to get good at jujitsu. That's the goal, is to get good at jujitsu. And then they are in class or open mats, and their technique is getting better. Everything about their jujitsu is getting better, but they're still getting handled every day.
But it doesn't mean that you're not getting good.
Right, but it plants that seed in your head that you're not getting good because you're not getting better than
Somebody
everyone
else.
else.
Oh, so now you're
Yes.
comparing yourself to somebody else.
Yes,
But see, now
but that's anything. Our whole world is based on that. You know,
I was
and
about to
it
say.
sucks because you can still come every day and enjoy yourself and find something of value in it, even though you lost every round, even though you didn't tap anybody out. There is still something of value in there, and that carries over, I think, to everything else. Whether it's you want to be a chef or you want to, we just keep going back to guitar playing. You can stop falling into the trap of that you have to be better than. You don't. You only have to work, and if you work, you can find results that you can be happy with.
I agree with most of the things that you said. One thing that pokes me is that you still need to get better. The idea of not getting better is why we quit.
The thought that you think you're not getting better or you're not.
But look, by definition of that, this happens only if we compare ourselves to somebody else.
Sure. But then
the
the bell rings and you're in around with somebody, and you cannot. It is, I shouldn't say can't. It is very, very hard to separate yourself from that ass kicking you just got, and say somewhere in that 5 minutes, that 7 minutes, I was better than I was in a 7-minute round last Sunday.
Well, because we're looking at it wrong.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
it's
just.
hard.
We just have a very wrong view on this. Like, again, if you compare yourself, if you're chasing your neighbor the entire life, you'll never get what they want. I mean, what kind of life is this? Is it sort of focusing on what you're trying to achieve? I mean, this is everywhere. This is in professional careers. This is in I don't know, households. This is in education.
Right.
This is in swimming, guitar, chess. I mean, just because you practice every single day does not mean that you're going to be a better guitar player than I don't know, Slash.
Name one. Oh, I didn't think you were going to be able to come up with
No,
that.
I Slash is my favorite. I love Slash. I love Guns N' Roses. That's why I grew up on. But anyway, you know what I mean? Like, does that mean that you're going to be better than him? But it does not mean that you're not progressing. You are getting better.
Yeah, but the jiu-jitsu thing is more immediate.
Maybe so, because we have impact on each other. Right? Somebody can counter and cancel you out, regardless of how well you are getting. What's the progression?
And nobody's expecting, unless you put yourself on a stage somewhere and talk shit, nobody's expecting you to be better than Slash. But you don't have to put yourself on a stage. You don't have to talk shit. You just are there when the bell rings, and that comparison is being made to the people in the room.
This is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that us as humans we make, and especially
that's why I'm still here, is because I don't. It's funny to say this, but I don't give a shit. I don't care if. Let me rephrase that, because I do care when I lose. I do care when I can't solve a problem. I do care. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't compete. I'm talking wins and losses in open mats, open training. I don't care. I don't care. But that guy who's giving me problems with his open guard, if I pass his guard, I care about that, right? I care about not getting caught because I'm doing something stupid.
So what I'm hearing is that you do care. It's just you're looking at this as a opportunity
care
to
about.
improve
Yes. What I care about is
versus
different.
you lost,
Yeah.
right?
I don't care about the wins and losses.
Right. So it is glass half full, half empty. I mean, in a sense, like
maybe.
it's you're looking at it from it's a growth mindset versus fixed mindset, right? You're not looking at I lost. You're looking at okay, this didn't go well. How can I improve so
Right.
next time this goes better?
Or like somebody was setting up an armbar on me the other day, and there was a group of people watching it, and when I escaped, those guys all went, and I, in my head, I was instantly like, oh, those guys thought it was done, that I was done. And I knew I wasn't done. I knew I wasn't, it wasn't set up correctly. He was not thinking position over submission. And when the opportunity arose, I was, I think I ended up like in his half guard after I escaped. But the point is that is what I focus on. That is what I take away from. And even if those guys weren't there to see it, I still would have been like, oh, see, I knew that I was safe. I knew what to do to get out of that situation and keep myself safe. And that's, I think, what people need to focus on. It's not that I've been doing this for 6 months and every open mat, I'm still the nail, Don't look at it that way.
Infinite game.
Yep.
Infinite game. Who can stick around longer? And I think loading. But I think there is some truth behind this. Like I'm listening to it and thinking about this. And I know actually a lot of black belts who are not world champions, or they are not some phenomenal grapplers. They're just hobbyists.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been doing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And the reason why they are good at the level they are mostly is because they just stuck around and they kept training. It's not because they had some phenomenal instructions or some phenomenal ability to learn, or they were just skilled or have talent or whatever the other reasons might be. It kind of boils down to the simple fact that they just didn't quit.
Yep.
And by definition of that, they've been training by far longer than even the guys who train 7 days a week for first 6 months.
Right.
Because overall, the total combined amount of time and experience on the mat suppressed all that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, let's leave it there because we thought we were done 18 minutes ago.
Look at that. This might be the longest takeaway ever.
All right, cool.
Later.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.